Hello everybody and welcome to my part 2 of fixing the Kanto gyms. I know this might be a bit weird to put on the video, but thanks to SpaceShare5478 for that comment. It made me really happy to read that. So thank you. Anyhow, last we left off, we worked on Brock, Misty, Lieutenant Surge, and Erica. Now it's time to show you the second part of fixing Kanto gym leaders. This means Koga, Sabrina, Blaine, and Giovanni. Overall, by this point of the game, you have a fully evolved starter and have access to the majority of the available Pokemon. So, we have gotten to a point where it's time to truly go all out when making their teams. First comes both Koga and Sabrina. This is because their level cap is the same, that being 43. But let's start with Koga. Koga is the poison type specialist that, according to the lore, focuses on either putting the opponent's Pokemon asleep or paralyzed, which is the complete opposite of poisoning them. Kind of weird. Okay, so I did more research about it and I was wrong. He does poison them. He doesn't paralyze them, but he also, aside from poisoning and putting them to sleep, he does confuse them. That's what I meant. If he's meant to status Pokemon, he'd need either fast or really bulky Pokemon. Not only that, he's a ninja, so kinda goes with the fast, you know. So with that in mind, here goes. For his two really bulky Pokemon that are meant to disrupt come Muk and Weezing. These Pokemon not only are overall pretty good, but they are also somewhat synonymous with Koga, so I'd say those two work. Next up is Arbok. It really fits his whole aesthetic ninja thing. I don't know, maybe it works. I think it works. And even though it's not the fastest Pokemon, it definitely works as a way to paralyze opponents. Glare. Next up might actually surprise people, that being Gengar. Here is an actual real fast mon that, if left unchecked, not only will he put your Pokemon asleep, but also take them out with moves like Dream Eater to not only damage but heal itself, but also a Step, Sludge Bomb, or Shadow Ball will do big boy damage. Next up is a Pokemon that appears on Sabrina's older generation teams, Venomoth. Never really understood why, but it's time to make it make sense and put it in Koga's team. Finally comes its ace, Crobat. This Pokemon not only is fast, but will hit hard with moves like Acrobatics and Cross Poison. Aside from that, it can become real annoying with moves like Double Team, Supersonic, and Confuse Ray. Okay, and now for the teams. Muk has Poison Jab, Knockoff, Minimize, Toxic, and the Assault Vest. Weezing has Destiny Bond, Pain Split, Flamethrower, and Acid Spray. Arbok has Poison Tail, Leech Life, Seed Bomb, and Glare. Gengar has Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Dream Eater, Hypnosis, and the Wide Lens. Venomoth has Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, Sludge Wave, Psychic, and the Heavy Duty Boots, and Crobat has Acrobatics, Roost, Confuse Ray, and Double Team. Overall, I'd say the team was good. It fits his whole vibe, his whole being a nuisance than anything else. So yeah, I wouldn't want to fight the Crobat because that just seems so fun. Anyways, now onto the Psychic Lady that gets walled by Snorlax. Her team was very weird in Gen 3. Not only did she have the Venomoth, which is a bug poison type, like I said before, but also has a Kadabra, which is just the worst version of Alakazam, and Hypno existed in Gen 1, so I don't get it. So it's time to switch things up. First up, it's Executor, and while yes, it's already used by Erica, I think it's fine since it isn't her ace. Next up are the Slowbros, as in space between the slow part, so as in bros. Yeah, anyways, the bros being Slowbro and Slowking. One being a physical wall while the other being a special wall. This allows for her to slow down the fight if need be. Coming next is Espeon. This would act as her first big damage dealer that the player sees, and if allowed to set up, could just sweep teams due to its speed. Next up is the second setter, Mr. Mime. This Pokemon ideally would come right before Alakazam, that way it could set up some Reflex, which would allow Alakazam to take some physical hits without getting one-tapped. And talking about Alakazam, it is of course her ace, the main reason being that it's synonymous with Sabrina. And yes, I am aware that Alakazam is weaker than Espeon, but I don't think it fits her as her ace compared to Alakazam. And now comes the move. Executor has Calm Mind, Giga Drain, Psychic, Light Screen. Slowking has Power Gem, Psychic, Nasty Plot, and Slack Off. Slowbro has Amnesia, Psyshock, Surf, Ice Beam, and Leftovers. Espeon has Trick, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, Power Gem, Choice Scarf. Mr. Mime has Reflect, Healing Wish, Dazzling Gleam, and Psychic, and Alexam has Psyshock, Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, Nasty Plot, and Focus Sash. So I think this team is alright, mind you. Get it? I think I gave her a good enough team that with the right setup could do quite big boom damage. And yes, I'm aware you can still bring a dark type or a bug type and it's still gonna do a lot of damage. Onto the Madman Blaine. His team, in my opinion, is quite hard to make it challenging enough for players to go up against. I mean, by this point, you just come from a water route, which will make this gym a bit of a pushover, but I will try my best. So here goes. The team is essentially a sun team. This is the only way for the fire type by this point of the game to be challenging enough. I can confidently say that even if you bring a water type, you will have a hard time going up against it. This is of course if you have no answer to the sun. If you do, then things like solar beam and water type moves won't be nerfed. I mean, solar beam will because it'll take 2 turns, but water types won't have that 50% nerf. If it were up to me, this would be a double battle, but in the mainline games, these types of battles haven't really become the norm, and so it will stay a single format. First up is Ninetales with the Drought ability. Ninetales mainly acts as a way to get the ball rolling. Not only can it deal big damage due to Drought, but also the only real weakness becomes ground and rock type moves, and a good old energy ball can deal with that. Next up is the 4th legendary of Kanto, Arcanine. Never really understood why it was considered a legendary Pokemon if it doesn't really have the stats of 1. But aside from that, it's a fast boy that can do big damage. Aside from that, it has Intimidate, one of the best abilities to ever exist. Flareon is here to finish the EV trio of Gen 1, and personally, my favorite one from Kanto. Now come the 2 fire starters from Johto and Kanto, Charizard and Typhlosion, which weirdly enough have the exact same stats. I suppose Game Freak liked Charizard so much that they just wanted to create Charizard 2.0, but weaker because it doesn't have a flying type, which removes coverage, but I know, it's kind of a 50-50. Anyways, and to wrap things up, it's his ace, Magmortar. Not the best Pokemon stat-wise for this team, but will definitely do big enough damage to make up for it. And now for the moves. Ninetales has Overheat, Memento, Healing Wish, Will-O-Wisp, and the Heat Rock. Arcanine has Flare Blitz, Extreme Speed, Iron Head, Morning Sun. Flareon has Flare Blitz, Facade, Superpower, Quick Attack, and Toxic Orb. Charizard has Fire Blast, Hurricane, Focus Blast, Solar Beam with the heavy duty boots. Typhlosion has Eruption, Focus Blast, Fire Blast, and Shadow Ball. And Magmortar has Fire Blast, Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Scorching Sands, and Choice Spec. So I think I did a good job. It was the first time that I myself went like, damn, this could actually be tough. So I'm quite happy with that, and yeah, the only way that you can really counter it, just bring a rain setter or something like that, and then you'll be fine. Anyways, for the final gym leader comes Big Boss Giovanni. His ground types will do a lot of damage because Earthquake exists. So be ready to bring some birds and bulky boys, because if not, he could wipe your team. This also shows more about his character. He's not only a final gym leader, but also the leader of a criminal organization that could take over the entirety of Kanto. So having a team that matches with that description only makes sense. First up is Dawn Fan. Mainly because the name not only fits Giovanni, but also I think it fits his vibe. I could picture Giovanni telling his Dawn fan to just absolutely destroy town for not paying up. It states in the Pokédex that its tackle could blow apart a house in one hit, so it's a fun mental image. Next up is Wall, at least metaphorically speaking, Steelix. This guy is said to be harder than diamonds, so not sure what could actually hurt him. Maybe some like mean words and water, but aside from that, you're not getting into this guy. Next up is Gliscor. You thought you could retaliate with some earthquakes or grass types of your own? Well, he's stopping you. Next up is Big Mamo. He's here with his immense 130 attack stat and 110 HP. Yeah, sure, you could do a lot of damage to him, but you bet your ass he isn't going down without taking you down with him. As his second in command, Rhyperior. This guy will take multiple of your guys down, and you won't be able to do much about it. Not only that, but with the Solid Rock ability, he will be much harder to take down. And finally, a Pokemon that has become synonymous with Big Geo himself, Nidoking. While yes, he might not be as strong as Rhyperior, he makes up for it with that insane coverage that he gets. Alright, and now for the moves. Donphan has Earthquake, Knockoff, Rapid Spin, and Ice Spinner. Steelix have Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Thunderfang. Gliscor has Earthquake, U-Turn, Knockoff, Facade, and Toxic Orb. Mamoswine has Icicle Crash, Earthquake, Ice Shard, Knockoff, and Never Melt Ice. Rhyperior has Earthquake, Stone Edge, Thunderfang, Dragon Tail, and the Assault Vest. Nidoking has Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Thunderbolt, and the Life Orb. So yeah, I'd say I did a pretty good job remaking these themes. While realistically, a lot of the situations you could still just solo it with Mon. I think I made it hard enough where that wouldn't happen as often. Next video is going to be the third part of this fun little series, that being the E4 and the champion. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I hope you're happy. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.